What is up, YouTube family? It is yours truly, Remy, back at it again with a third video. This is going to be episode 3, Road to Recovery. And as you can see, the title of this video is labeled Update, Expectations, and a little bit of faith. And those are the 3 things that I'm going to be talking about today. So starting off with the first category, update. In my previous videos, I stated that I was trying to reach out to a few acupuncturists to see if I could set something up so I can start going in for treatments and see where that would lead me. I finally got a call back from one of the acupuncturists. I actually got several callbacks from them, and I was doing a little bit of research just to see which acupuncturist I wanted to basically start my journey with, and I found one. So they reached back out to me a couple days ago, so we managed to set up an appointment that's scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the major update. I'm feeling a multitude of things. I'm anxious, I'm excited, happy, nervous. But despite all that, we're gonna push through. We're gonna push forward. So yeah, that's the first thing. That's the major update. So I'm excited about that. When I didn't actually get to speak to the acupuncturist per se, but I don't know if that's his role. But I spoke to the person. I don't know if he's the secretary or what his role is there, but I spoke to another person, and they're the ones that set the appointment up for tomorrow. That's June 25th. Tomorrow's gonna be June 25th. They set it up. I didn't get a chance to speak to her. I was trying to get a chance to speak to her just to pick her brains about me being able to record, because I don't know if they're gonna allow me to do it. I really hope that they do, so I could share that with you guys, and I could just have it for myself also for a point of reference. So I'm still gonna go there with my camera and things of that nature, and I'm gonna try to ask to the best of my ability if they'll allow me to do so. I don't know, but when I spoke to the guy, he seemed pretty cool about it. He said that he doesn't think she'll mind, but he can't give me a definitive answer on that. And their office hours are only open by appointments, so it's not like an everyday thing. So I couldn't call in and catch her, and they seem very, very busy. So I haven't had the chance to speak to her yet, so I don't know if I'll be able to record. But what I think I'm gonna do is probably when I get up there, because it's in the city, when I get up there, I'll probably try to shoot just like a mini clip of where I am and when I'm about to go in, and I'll probably try to shoot in the office if I have the permission to do so. I don't know. I'm really hoping that she's cool with it. It's a female acupuncturist. I hope that she's cool with it, and she lets me record for this project that I'm doing. So stay tuned for that. It's tomorrow afternoon. I think I want to say around 4:30. The next thing is expectations. My expectations of it. I haven't been studying it long, but from what I've been studying so far on acupuncture, I have a few things in mind of how I think it's gonna go, and I could be wrong. I don't know, but I think certain components that I've read and I've studied is going to take place tomorrow during the course of the meeting or our first appointment. One of the things that I study, just pause. So acupuncture, or TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, and to people who study this years and years and put time and effort into this. Forgive me if I'm wrong or I botch a few things. I'm still new to the game and I'm still learning. So it's founded on and it's correlated with the concept of yin and yang. So yin being cloudy or cold weather, cold energy, and yang being sunny energy or heat. So in order for the body to be at 100% health, it it has to be a balance between both energies, yin and yang. And when there's disease in the body or disease, is because there's too much yang or there's too much yin. It's not balanced. So when that happens, certain sicknesses surface. So in terms of me, I strongly believe that my energy system within my body, in Eastern medicine they'll refer to it as chi. It's I'm pretty sure it's like all out of whack. So so the acupuncturist's job is to analyze you and try to get your body in realignment. Try to get your energy flowing the way that it should. Try to get you back into balance. So in order for them to do this, they have to first, diagnose you like a regular physician. So certain things that I expect them to do based off what I've been reading and studying is looking. So they're gonna observe, or I believe she's gonna observe things and see things that the normal eye wouldn't be able to see. Things that I wouldn't see looking at anybody. She's gonna look at, the way I stand, my posture, and most importantly, the eyes. When we was younger, oftentimes people always said that phrase, "Oh, like the eyes is the window to the soul." But studying these things, it's like I don't think people know how deep that saying is. So in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, the eye color can, I think it's called the sclera, or just for layman terms, the white part of your eyes, just to keep it simple. So she's gonna analyze that about me, and according to Chinese medicine, it's not always the case, but sometimes you see people, the white part of their eyes may have like a yellowish color to it. And nobody panic when I say this. You could just like do your own research. It's not like it's a death sentence. It's just things that I've been learning and studying. So based off that, the eyes let you know the condition or the state that the liver is in. So when people's eyes are like yellowish, that lets the acupuncturist know that she has to target the liver in a sense. So that lets her know, okay, I have to create a tonic, or I have to do methods in order to tonify or strengthen this person's liver, because just by looking at their eye color, I know that's one of the organs, the inner organs, that's affected. So that's one thing I expect to see. Also, I expect her to touch. Like I mentioned earlier, yin and yang energy. Yin refers to cold in a sense, and yang refers to heat in a sense. So she's gonna touch me, and based off the way I feel, if I'm like hot or extremely hot, then she'll know that I have an excess of yang energy, and it gives her sort of a train of thought that says, okay, I need to cool this person's body in some shape or form. And if it's the opposite, if she touches me and I feel relatively cold, then she knows, okay, I need to prescribe him something that's gonna warm his body so his energy system could flow properly. That's another thing that I expect to see. Another thing is observance of the tongue. If I'm not mistaken, by looking at I'm not gonna stick my tongue out, but if I'm not mistaken, when you stick your tongue out, in TCM, is broken up into 3 components. So the tongue is, they look at it in 3 sections, and by looking at the tongue, by sticking your tongue out and her looking at the texture of my tongue, the coating, the color, she can determine also what inner organs may be affected. What inner organs may be weak, and what inner organs she may what inner organs she has to strengthen in order for me to get better, per se. I think that's really amazing. It's like Like, there's just so much to this. It's just crazy, and there's so much things that I've learned, so much things that I'm still learning, and it's like mind blowing that somebody could be that trained where they could just look at your tongue and know like what you're suffering from or what internal organs are affected. You know, that's amazing. Another thing I expect to see is the pulse. So she'll take my pulse. I don't know how she's gonna do it. I think people have different methods, but she'll check my pulse, and depending on how my pulse sounds, she'll be able to determine, my heart, things of that nature. If my heart is affected, if it's strong, if it's weak, things that she needs to do, and I think that's pretty much it. And the last thing, of course, I expect like a change in diet. You know, I expect her to prescribe some form of diet. I could be wrong because I don't know exactly how it's going to go. This is just me making like an educated inference based off, the things that I've been reading and studying. But I do expect her to change my diet in a sense after she analyzes things and she gives me a diagnosis, or things that I need to work on. The session is supposed to be from 45 minutes to an hour, I believe. And she's gonna ask questions, of course, like my medical history, have my files here, and to get a sense of, how long I've been diabetic, some of the things I've been experiencing, how I feel, things of that nature. So those are, my expectations for tomorrow. Hope that makes sense. If I get to record, I'll share it, and we'll see if I was right or I was like completely way off. But it's a learning experience for us both. And the last thing that I want to touch on is faith. I'm not gonna go too deep into this aspect because I feel like we live in such a sensitive world and sensitive time period that certain things, it just should be avoided, or it feels like certain things have to be avoided. Like, you can't discuss or talk about certain things because you may rub people the wrong way. And one of these things are, of course, religion and spirituality and things of that nature. And this has happened to me a lot of times in the past. So, like, just having a discussion about, faith and spirituality, and just people just get offensive. Like, and I'm just like, slow down. I'm like, slow down. We're just having a conversation. We're just having a dialogue. I'm not trying to convert or impose anything on you. Sharing my worldview, you share your worldview. And the key is to focus on the common denominators when we're having those types of discussions. But I feel like when you start to talk about certain things, people they can't see the common denominator. They just automatically feel attacked. And I'm just like, it is what it is. I understand the dynamic and the culture that we live in. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, I can only speak my truth. And as long as I'm not being disrespectful with the truth that I'm speaking, what can I do? It is what it is, So when I discovered Eastern medicine, I want to say roughly 2 years ago. I think I'm going on 3 years. I first was introduced to it, excuse me. Just reading, because when you succumb to illness, your first thing, or one of the first things you should do, is to research it. Research, what you should do, how to combat it, things of that nature. And throughout the years, over the course of 15 years, you hear so much things when you're sick that it just becomes, after a while, it just becomes second nature to just tune it out. You're like, okay, this is another, propaganda that could cure me, things of that nature. So after I stumbled across it, that was my initial response to it. But I still kept it in the back of my mind. Like, I heard about it and I read about it, and I said, okay, this is really interesting. but I wasn't ready to accept or you know, get on that journey, get on that path where I am now. So, and I knew I wasn't ready because I wasn't where I was supposed to be emotionally. I wasn't where I was supposed to be mentally. I wasn't where I was supposed to be financially. But most importantly, I wasn't where I was supposed to be spiritually. And that's the point that I want to hone in on. So, so after a while, I put that on the back burner. And then when I got to undergrad and I was finishing up my undergrad degree, I met a professor there who later became my mentor and still is my mentor. And he's been a great help in terms of building up my spiritual walk and my confidence and just a whole bunch of things. And come to find out, he studied, TCM, or he was into it, and we started talking about it again. So he would bring it up, he would bring it up, he would bring it up, and I was just like, man, like maybe I should really start to look into it again. So that was the second time I heard of it. So I was still like looking into it, and but not as heavy as I'm doing it now because I still felt like I wasn't ready. And then, so fast forward now, I rekindled interactions with somebody that I went to high school with, and we started catching up, and she fell off the face of the earth. It's something that she just has a habit of doing, and in the process of falling off the face of the earth, when she came back, she was sharing things with me, and she said, okay, well, this time, like when I disappeared, it wasn't really my fault. Like I fell violently ill. I'm not gonna get too much into her story because I don't feel like that's my story to tell. But long story short, when she fell ill, she sought out doctors from Western medicine. Of course, when you're ill, you want to know what's going on. So she saw doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor, and no one could tell her what was wrong. And I'm just like, that's like mind blowing. Like I'm not gonna get too deep into that because, like I said, this is not a channel to bash Western medicine, but I'm just like I don't know. I can't understand that. Like how you could study something for so long, like decades and decades, and someone comes to you with an issue, and you have no idea how to help them. I don't know. So anyway, I digress. So she told me, she said, hey, and she said, no one, and she was in bad condition, like really, really bad condition. And she started to exchange information with me and showing me, the things that was wrong. And I couldn't believe my eyes. Like I was just like, this is crazy. So, I said, how did you get better? And she said, I underwent acupuncture. So I'm like, this is the third time like I'm hearing about this. So I'm like, okay. I try not to interpret things too much or read too much into things, but at the same time I don't believe in coincidences to that level. So she told me, she said, hey, I went on the acupuncture, and it was very like eye opening, and I was just like, okay. And she just started telling me, and she was just spitting information like crazy. And she said, yeah, now she did a whole bunch of jobs throughout the years, like it was crazy. But now she's actually in school studying acupuncture. She's like, this has become a passion for me. And I'm just like, wow, like really, it really had that great of an effect on you. And she was like, yeah. So now we started talking. She says, have you ever thought about, doing that for diabetes? And I'm like, yeah, I have, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work. I'm like, I'm good. So we started going back and forth, and I was still not in a place where I was ready to, take that advice and take that route. But in talking, I said, give me your acupuncturist number, and when I am there, maybe I'll reach out to her and we could set something up. So she gave me that information. When I was reaching out to the acupuncturist, that's when it hit me. I said, okay, wow, like this person gave me this information. Maybe I should reach out to this person. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. So I started researching, and I looked into her, and I said, okay, I think I'm gonna go down this path because I got a recommendation. I did the research. I like what I saw online. So I said, okay. So I managed to schedule that appointment, and that's the person that I'm gonna go see tomorrow. And this is the part where I really want to hone in on. So acupuncture, of course, there's a science component to it, dealing with energy, the energy system, and the flow of energy through the body, and realigning it so that the body can get stronger and be at its whole and at its full potential. Of course, there's science behind that, but there's also a spiritual aspect to it. And I say that to say that it's good to understand when I started to look into it, the reason why I didn't want to embark on it was because I knew my faith wasn't there. And I say this to say it's good to understand the science behind things, but you also got to have the faith to back it up. So I didn't want to jump into it and understand the science of it, but I'm just like, okay, this is not going to work because I personally believe that can have a major impact on it, you know? So I took time, I want to say maybe like in the time span of 2 years. So I took time just to realign myself, build myself up mentally, build myself up, physically, build myself, but most importantly, build myself up spiritually. And and I'm gonna stop right there and just go to the good book for a second. Now, I know people have different faiths and walks of life, but I think we can come to a consensus and talk about the figure known as Jesus. Jesus Christ, Jesus, Yeshua, Yahushai, Yeshua Bar Yosef, whatever you want to call him, but to keep it simple, let's just refer to him as Jesus. And I found Jesus' walk very interesting, and in this moment of my life, the things that really stands out to me is when he started healing multitudes of people. And I'm pretty sure he healed dozens, thousands of people, but the two main situations where he healed people, I believe it's in Luke chapter 17 and Mark chapter 5. You could go back and read that. For those of you who are familiar with it, you know what I'm referring to. Those of you who are not, if you want to, that is, you could go and you could read that chapter for context. But I just want to hone in on specific verses. I believe in 17 it's verse 19, and in Mark chapter 5 is verse 34. So in Luke is a multitude of people who are suffering from leprosy, and in Mark is the woman who was suffering with the issue of blood for 12 years. And when he healed them, he said something very specific that just keeps ringing in my ears. And he said, "Arise," something along those lines. Don't quote me. I'm not gonna say verbatim. But he said, "Arise and go, for your belief has made you whole." And I just want to hone on that word right there, belief. In other translations is faith, because it could be belief could be interchangeable with faith, because when you have faith, you believe something is true, you believe something can happen without needing physical evidence or proof of it. I'm gonna say that again. When you have belief, when you have belief, it could be interchangeable with faith, because when you have faith, you believe that something is true or something can happen without needing physical proof of it, physical evidence or proof of it. And I think that component is very important when it comes to acupuncture and it comes to this journey I'm about to embark on. I can understand the science behind it, but my faith has to be there to back it up. And this is, just a word of advice for anybody else who's embarking on the same journey, or who this may inspire to embark on the same journey. But also, there's two components to having the faith. You can have the faith, but also it needs to be His will. I strongly don't believe that anything in this world can happen without the permission of the Creator. So I can have the faith to back it up, but if it's not of the Creator's will, it may not happen. I may not be whole. I may not be the way that I was before I was diagnosed, embarking on this journey, if it's not His will. Does that mean I get upset? Does that mean I get frustrated? Does that mean I get angry? Does that mean I get mad and I rebuke Him? No. It means the opposite. It means I humble myself and I accept things. Someone once said something, and I was in the area to hear it, and it resonates with me now more than ever. And I can't remember it verbatim, but I'm going to do my best. He said something along the lines of this: sometimes, emphasis on sometimes, sometimes your role in the grand scheme of things is to simply ignite a fire and pass it on, so somebody that's in darkness could use the fire that you ignited in order to see themselves out and continue that process. I'll say it one more time. Sometimes your role, simply in the grand scheme of things, is to ignite a fire and pass it on to somebody in darkness so they could use the fire that you've ignited in order to see themselves out of the darkness and continue that cycle. And I say that to say, even though this is a fire that I may be igniting and I have faith behind it, if it's not of the Creator's will, I may not be able to use that fire. But at least I ignited it, and I could pass it on to somebody that can embark on the same journey, and maybe they'll yield the results that I'm searching for. And at the end of the day, I'm content with that. I'm extremely okay with that. So, with that being said, I think that's pretty much it. Pray for me. If you don't pray, give good words of encouragement as I begin this journey tomorrow. My first appointment, that it goes well, and as I continue this process, that things only go uphill from there. But even if I don't yield the results that I'm yearning for, because it may not be what the Creator has in store for me, no one knows. Only He knows. But at the same time, it's okay. I'm content that somebody may see this message, that somebody may get motivated, inspired, and seek after the same thing, and maybe yield the results that I'm looking for. So with that being said, until next time, family, stay tuned.